Mm-hmm.
It's the same with like companies, like corporations and stuff like that. You always see commercials that are like that are so fake and everything like that. Like essentially, like what these commercials essentially are saying. Like I literally saw a commercial like 3 weeks ago that I swear on everything. The commercial stated that you weren't going to get into heaven unless you bought this product. I am not exaggerating whatsoever. I promise you. You are not going to get into heaven unless you buy this product. And it's the same thing, you know, like phone companies. Every time you sign a contract with anyone that's this long, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They don't encourage you to read through it and to ask questions or anything like that. They feed you a bunch of BS and then
sign at the X.
They're not transparent. I would go with the company and say, "Hey, we're going to screw you." You know what I'm saying? I would go with well, at least you're honest. You know?
Yeah. I think also one of the major things is embarrassment. I mean, that's kind of a primal feeling that people have, and it's something that, you know, it's harder to have, you know, privacy and, you know, less in transparency during the information age of, as we've seen with the internet and all the electronic information we have floating around. One of the people I follow called, his name is Jeff Jarvis, he has this idea called mutually assured embarrassment. Because everyone has things that they've done online or documented somewhere that they're embarrassed about. Yeah. And if you find out stuff on me, I can find out stuff on you, and that's.
Oh yeah, I like that.
It's one of the things that kind of will help.
Levels the playing field.
Yeah. If we stop having this weird idea about embarrassing people, and you know this.
That's it right there.
This crazy idea of privacy that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's just all be our true, authentic, embarrassing selves.
That's the Rio Grande Valley chapter coordinator right there.
Wear it on your sleeve, man.
It's, you know, we're you know, the reason we have that is because everything we see projected at us through the media is perfection. You know, people are happy and you know, well dressed and all this kind of stuff, and if we don't meet these models, then
E! News talks about their dirty laundry, and that becomes news now, and people start to watch that and think it's entertainment. That's kind of absurd, but
we've turned personal tragedy into entertainment fodder. It's really sad.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I once wrote a blog. I felt so strongly about this. I once wrote a blog where I put I listed 25 of my most embarrassing or ashamed things that I'd ever held or done, you know, in my life. And it was really freeing, you know, it was really freeing to just put it out there, be like, I don't care what you think of me. I truly don't. This is me, and I'm free, and here it is.
Yeah.
And here's an action that I can do to prove this for myself, you know, prove it to myself that, you know, doing things that scare us make us more free.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. If you stay in this little bubble forever, it's not good for anyone.
No,
I agree.
No, it's definitely not good for your mind, body, and soul. So I think there's as far as the WikiLeaks go, the Iraq papers, apparently the big bomb is still yet to come. Like all the Iraq,
Guantanamo Bay,
all that stuff. Like that's
and
still coming out.
The bank's coming out.
The bank's coming up too. Apparently, he said that this is going to be damning enough to where one bank should go out, if not a few. I know, right?
Yeah.
I would pay to see the look on those jackasses' faces when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like Rockefeller and the Rothschilds. You know, I saw a video the other day of Prince Charles being his car being bombarded, and that shit was awesome.
So
God, I loved it. You know, to see the look on the face that I have every day when I go into work every single day of my life, that's the same look that I share every single day for 4 or 5 hours a day to go into work, and to see it on their faces was awesome. Just the terror, the pure terror was worth millions of fake dollars.
All right. I personally, when I saw that, I didn't have that reaction. I was actually sad to see Prince Charles so scared and in terror. Because, you know, I've had, like, God, if all these elitists could just go away, disappear, you know, not just disappear. And, of course, you're like, how could that happen, you know? And then all these malicious ideas come up. But when I actually saw it, I didn't like it. I didn't like the fear all over his face. I was like, I don't want it to be like this. I don't want it to happen like this.
That may have caused him to recluse a little.
The son of the president of Bear Stearns committed suicide the other day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like because he's so embarrassed.
I probably would too.
Yeah, he's so embarrassed about all this heavy media that's come down
Bernie
on
Madoff.
Bernie
What they're
Madoff, not
doing
Bear
to
Stearns,
people?
Bernie Madoff. That's
What
it
they're
was.
doing to people, that's I'm sorry, but people say, and I understand the part of people that says that we want to help people and that we're all. I totally agree with that, but I think that there is definitely a fundamental difference between the people that are running the world and us that are being subjected to
Because
it.
those people will just never get that concept.
Exactly.
They will
Right.
just fight against being, working together.
Mhm.
They will just fight that idea. until
Exactly.
their
I don't
last
think
breath.
we should outright say no one can change. I mean, everyone's capable of change.
That's
It's-
right.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
Hey guys, I want to
agree.
give a quick 4-second sign off, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to keep the conversation flowing for those at home. Tune in next week. Love. Mwah. Okay.
Hey guys.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, we shouldn't write off anyone outright. I mean, we should,
I
try
agree.
to reach everyone we possibly
agree.
can.
I
No,
agree. Because
You know-
they were put in a circumstance similar to us where they were
Right.
forced into a system of elitism.
Elitism.
Where
yeah.
they have to perceive them as, that social stratification. They're thrown at the top
Right.
day one.
Right.
So they think that is a God-given right. That's really what they perceive it. They
Not just
perceive
right,
they were
but
there.
duty.
They were there. They were put there religiously,
Right.
as somebody who makes decisions and calls the shots.
Right.
So
I totally agree with both what you with what both of you were saying. Tyson and I had a conversation about this a couple of weeks ago that was incredibly similar, and I totally agree, and I can empathize and sympathize with that. But my contention is that when is this going to happen? We need to hold people accountable. I think in saying that and understanding that they come from a life of privilege and a sense of duty, but at the same time they have a choice every single day when they wake up whether or not they want to take advantage of people and ruin people's lives, or if they want to project good and harmony into the
Right.
world. And I think that when you wake up every single day and you make the decision not to do that, then you're making your bed for yourself right then and there.
Two things, though. One is everybody's going to look out for themselves. They are going to do whatever they can to perpetuate their standard of living, their position of power. That's just going to happen.
Because they think scarcity is commonplace.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is they think scarcity is commonplace. They just haven't seen or been given the information that we have that gives another option for them to take.
I respectfully disagree. I think that like we have said before, that they know who can threaten their power. They know the ins and outs. I guarantee you they know more about the Zeitgeist movement than I do. I guarantee you they know more about it than all of us up here. Because if they're not being privy to that information, the old cliche, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. If you don't think that they know what the hell's going on and the true understanding and the true rules that govern the society and perpetuate the society, then I think we're all sorely mistaken. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what they're doing. And for us to make excuses or to say like it is understanding, and I agree, but at the same time we've got to get upset, we've got to get mad, and I don't think that that saying that like, oh well, it's not their fault. It is their fault because they make a decision every single day.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's the system's fault. You can't hate
They
the
made
player.
the
You got to
system.
hate the
The
game.
environment.
They made the system though.
And
they perpetuate the
ancestry.
system.
It's through time. This is an evolving
they're born into
system that
this system.
started a long time ago.
2,000 years ago.
But-
Ownership started with agrarian society. You build a fence around some livestock, and ownership came as a result of that. And then you move on and it industrialized, and it got a little bit more technologically advanced, but there was still mass amounts of scarcity. So you're bringing these people in. There's like, well, I have the ability to grow tons of food, but I need help doing it. You come in, this person's calling the shots. This elitist mentality comes from there. So it's a millennia old mentality that has been going on, and it's become a hybrid of all sorts of different things.
And as much as they are victimizers, they are victims also themselves.
Yeah, equally as we are.
I can understand that, but I think it can also go back to the same thing of like alcoholics. Of a person that's been born into alcoholism, their parents, their grandparents, and their brothers, sisters, uncles were all alcoholics. They still have the power to change, and you hear a lot of stories that people do change from that. I know my stepdad was one of those people. You know what I'm saying? And so he grew up around alcoholism and drug abuse his entire life, but he never drank or smoked ever, and is not once. You know what I'm saying? So that, I think that right there, that's a fundamental issue. He had a decision to make. Oh, I can be just like my parents and my grandparents and follow that same path, and look where that led to unhappiness and torture, essentially. Or, you know, I can make a conscious decision to be a better person and to change my life, and he did. And I think the same thing applies to David Rockefeller's children.
Sure.
You know?
At some point, David Rockefeller's children, whatever, they are going to have to. You would think at some point they're going to be faced with a decision to allocate some funds to really help out a social
either
cause.
self-preserve and isolate themselves in a bunker and hope they survive,
or go underground, or live underground,
become a hermit and
like
go
that.
away and hide, because they're seriously the elitist group. The ratio between them and the people who live in absolute poverty, I think, is like 2,000 to 3,000 to 1, which is, if you're thinking 7 billion people or plus on the planet, 315 million in the United States,
you know,
that gap is growing exponentially. Poor people, our brains can't comprehend.
6 billion people live on $10 or less a day.
Yes.
6 billion people. You're talking about possibly 80 or 90% of the population.
Come on in, right?
Nice, nice.
2% of the population currently owns 80%